Welcome to Between the Reads, where we shine a spotlight on some of the most talented Black authors in the industry to discuss their works of fiction and the inspirations behind them. Each episode will dive into the rich and diverse world of literature, exploring everything from historical fiction to romance and speculative fiction to YA and beyond. Tune in as we celebrate the voices of Black authors and the power of storytelling. Are you ready, Boos and Bros? Then sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Hey, this is Rants and Rambles for July. By the time you see this, it will be Tuesday, July 31st, the last day of July. What have you been doing with your life? All this time, we are 7 months gone out of the year, y'all. And August is coming up, and August is what? My birthday month.
Hey.
Yes. I am here with the beautiful, wonderful, illustrious, talented, amazing Chelsea Lockhart of Written in Melanin, of the Melanin Library, of the Melanin Chat, the author of We Are Dying Gods, and the other book that I'm... We Are the Origin. God, my brain just had a total pause.
I love
This
how
is what we do.
You gave
This
the
is what we
second book
do.
and not the first one that you actually read.
Right. This is what we do. And I know Demetrius is listening. No, we can never start a show without me laughing because I'm always doing some shit. So, y'all need to know.
You guys.
Listen, y'all need to know. Chelsea instructed me that I need to tell y'all. I'm trying something new with this Rants and Rambles. I have people in the audience as guests. You will not see them, but they are here. They can chat, and I will be reading their comments and questions and whatever else they might say. I will be reading it. So it's just going to be kind of like when we do Melanin Chat, but it's Rants and Rambles. And if y'all see me spontaneously jump, it is because it is thundering here, and I really am scared of thunder. So,
I didn't know that.
You know what? Yeah, I don't like thunder. I'm going to tell you why I don't like thunder. Because when I was a kid, it was a summer night, clear as a bell. No raining, no nothing. It had been a wonderful day. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there was a huge clap of thunder and lightning hit my neighbor's house 2 doors up, blew the back half of the house off. And the whole neighborhood was covered in smoke. Like, couldn't see in front of you smoke. Ever since then, I don't like thunderstorms. Don't like them, don't like them, don't like them.
You know, that's valid. I can't even say nothing to that. That's a real reason to be scared. That's real.
Listen.
I thought
Ben, I did not know. See? Okay. All right. Whew. See, there was thunder. I don't know if y'all can hear that.
We can't hear the thunder, but we saw you jump.
Ben, I did not know your birthday was in August.
Yeah.
What day?
The 13th.
Okay. So 16 days before me. But yes, you don't have a book coming out on your birthday like I do. It's my bestest gift ever for my birthday. Chelsea's book, We Are Dying Gods, is coming out on my birthday.
I just want you to know, don't dare nobody need to never ask me again to release a book on their birthday, because the answer is no.
Oh, I was going to say, because she'd do it.
Do you know how hard this shit was? Because when I said yes, I had not even written the first page of We Are Dying Gods. And I was just like, yeah, sure, I have time. It's going to be great. Was not, in fact, a great experience. Was very stressful. It's still very stressful, but we're not going to talk about that. But we're gonna get things together. God is going to take care of it. And I'm going to sit back and I'm going to kick my feet up and I'm going to be sipping on whatever. Something better be in my cup, something strong. And I'm going to be minding my business because...
Ben talking about his birthday. Oh, my birthday is on a Tuesday this year. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, that's my picture. That's why I was like, oh, yeah. When you said it, I literally checked the calendar. I was like, oh, it's a Tuesday. Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, because Tuesday is the days that all the new books drop. I did not even realize that.
You know, my book, We Are Dying Gods, comes out the same day as I Feed Her to the Beast, and the Beast is Me. So that's kind of cool. It's a new horror book that's being hyped up. Y'all, Did you know that she got her contract, Jameson Shea? She deleted the tweet, but it's too late. I saw it, so I'm telling the business because it was on the internet and it was public for a long time, right? She got signed for $300K per book. Like, that shit's amazing.
This person is. Okay. Is there
You should
somebody
look it up.
know?
I'm really excited for her book. I might actually pre-order it, and you know the way I read books, that's kind of a big thing for me. But
Yeah.
I'm actually really excited about it, and I'm just kind of like, yo, let me negotiate something for that kind of money, because the way y'all wouldn't be able to tell me shit, okay, I would be, I'm sorry, I can't, my contract is too large, okay? You wouldn't be able to tell me nothing.
Now, what is her name? Who is this?
Her name is Jameson Shea. I follow her on Twitter, rest in peace. And
she's she's a horror author?
Yeah, she lives in Finland.
She's black?
Yep. You know I wouldn't know her if she wasn't.
Right. I forgot about that. The way I'm trying to, like, see if I can squeeze her, I'm at least going to have her on the, featured on Blacktober Reads on my Instagram page if I can't have her on,
yeah.
on the show.
Oh, my next book, I might be able to be on Blacktober. Not this one, not We Are Dying Gods, but the next one.
Wow. Really? Are you going to share, like, any little details with us?
No, not right now because it's too up in the air.
The way she said, and then just, no.
I have shared the character art on both my newsletter and my Patreon. Okay. So you can check that out. And then I also did like a little character sheet for my Patreon for the main character. So that was fun.
Nice.
And then I started writing it in the way things have been changing.
Oh. Look at she's actually like the way she came up. I thought I had everybody as guests. I don't know if I showed her as like live.
Did you send her the link that you sent me? Because you sent me a host link.
I sent her. I think I sent her. I sent everybody the guest link because I made everybody guest. I don't know. All right, so read, love, listen. I don't even know. See, this is the beauty of doing this like for the first time.
Hey.
She said, I don't know if I sent her. I thought I sent her the guest link. I must have sent her the wrong link because everybody who's a guest can't even show up.
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
I think you have to send her the link that you send her the one that you sent La and Ash.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't know how. Okay, I will send her. Read, love, listen. Drop your email in the chat there, and I will send you. And then get out of this one, and then I will send you. I will send you a link to be in the audience. I thought I did. All right. But if you can back out that way, I don't have 3 people on the screen. That would be cool. All right.
And since you guys in the audience are also part of the after chat, I will go ahead and drop the image that I share with my patrons.
All right. Oh
I
man,
think
that's
put in the general chat.
That is so funny. Okay. This is what you get when you go live, y'all.
It's a new experience.
It's a new experience. Okay, get audience. Invite. There we go. No, it says I already invited. Okay, I guess I gotta remove her. Yep, I sure enough did. I had her as a guest. I sure did. All right, there we go.
And also, while we were troubleshooting in the Discord, I just uploaded the character sheet I shared with my patrons. I didn't, like, I did a whole blog post with it, but I shared the actual image so you guys can check it out on the Discord.
All right. So, now we back on track. You were saying something about your book.
Yes. So, I'm working on it, and last night, y'all, the way I don't have insomnia, I'm not going to claim that for myself, so knock on wood, I don't want it. But the way I was up last night at like 1 o'clock working on the spells, and the thing is, I need y'all to know that Ben is so mean to me sometimes. And it's just like,
I don't believe that for a minute.
the fact that everyone thinks we're so nice and we are literally the meanest people. that extends to each other sometimes. He's not mean. He's just honest. And I love that. Very honest person, okay? But he is just, I would send him stuff that I would just be feeling my little stuff. And I'd be like, yeah, this is good. I got it. This is going to be great. This is going to be amazing. What? And then I'll send it to him. I'd be like, what do you think? What are your thoughts? And I'd be like, praise me. And he'd be like, this is not good. And I'd be like, that's not what I sent this to you for. Okay?
Ben's like, no, try again.
Literally that. And so
man.
And so sometimes I'd be sending him stuff, and it'd be like 2:00 because I'm like, my emotions are sensitive. He's already asleep. He'll see this in the morning. I can get some rest. I don't need this kind of anxiety when I'm trying to go to sleep, because if he says it's not good, I have to fix it. And so I was like, okay, fine. All right. So this morning, whatever, I was working on one of the spells that's going into the book or whatever, and I sent it to Ben. I was like, just let me know your thoughts. And when he was like, oh, this is really cool, I was like, yes! Okay, let's go. Let's go. So I have been working on a story Bible for my books, and that has been a journey. We're going to leave that at that. And, but it'll probably be a lot darker, because the way I feel like it's not me if I'm not writing about Black girls who are murking people. Like, I need that in my life. It brings me joy to just be able to have the option to just get rid of your problems, you know? Like, you don't have to, but you can, you know?
Yep. Read Love Listen is back. She said, yeah, this is different. It didn't ask about my camera. Sorry. I thought I had clicked guest. Because what it is, when you send people things, there's 3 options. There's host, guest,
and producer. Or host, audience, and producer, something like that. Yeah, something. Guest, audience, something. I don't know. Anyway, I didn't click I thought I clicked the arrow, but I didn't. So, you may or may not see that. I may or may not edit it out. I don't dare. She said at least I wasn't looking a mess. Hey.
Yeah, at least that. So, I mean, Rants and Rambles. Have you heard about this country singer who wrote this song, Not in My Small Town or whatever?
Yeah, I heard about it.
So, I listened to the lyrics. And while the lyrics themselves aren't necessarily bad, because he's just talking about, violence and stuff like that, but I feel like it's geared toward Black people, because I could have sworn I saw some Black Lives Matter protests in the video. And then there was also a TikTok video showing that the church the courthouse that he was standing in front of in the video was where a Black man was lynched for being accused by a white woman of rape. Mm-hmm. Even though the woman said that, I don't have any evidence per se that I was raped, but he did it. So, clearly it was probably an instance of, she probably advanced herself on him, and he was like, no.
Nah.
So, because her little fragile feelings didn't understand that, a white woman can be rejected, probably started that lie. So,
yeah. I haven't seen it, but I saw the video of him addressing it at some concert, talking about he was still going to sing the song, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like... But, don't get me started.
It just has very dog whistle sound, like Not in My Small Town. Knowing that
there's still sundown towns.
Yeah, there's sundown towns, and most
America?
of these small towns are in the South. They were sundown towns, and they were...
But they're all in the Midwest, too. It's not just the South.
Yeah. But that small town, I feel like that's a dog whistle term for, white towns, because...
Yeah. Because Black people come from small towns too, y'all. Just so you know.
We do. But I just feel like, I don't know, coming from him, it just feels very dog whistly, very trying to be coded about don't come to this town type thing. I don't know. Read Love Listen says most of the places in the video or Discord and fires were in Europe.
Yeah.
And then some were literal stock videos, and people love to play dumb. Lots of the protests started in small towns.
Yeah. I mean, The thing is, sometimes I even go France. Sometimes I wish America was more like France because France will burn some shit down quick, fast, and in a hurry. To the point where they just be on the cafe terrace drinking a coffee, like, oh, look at the protesters, and I'm just like,
Yep.
not them setting everything on fire. But
Yep.
like honestly, I feel like there needs to be moments when people are like, burn it down. We're like, for real, no, like legit, take me literal, take me at face value, burn it down. You know, some things that, you know, don't get me started on what I think about this country and what needs to be happening, because I just don't see there no way being peaceful ways to move forward. I just don't see it.
There's not. It's going to have to be. That's why, you know, some of us are looking for ways to just move to other countries. Yeah, no place is perfect, but at least in other places I can breathe more freely than I can here, and I can be human.
Honestly, all I want is just to be left alone.
That's what I want to. That's what I want to.
I just want to be left alone.
That's what I want to. Because I was just sharing with Chelsea before we got on the show that, you know, back in January, I started Staying on Code, which is this podcast, and I've only had 5 episodes. And when I had to cancel a few because right when I was getting back on track, my mother went into the hospital and I just couldn't do the episodes. But I had kind of fallen off track, and I was wondering why I was having such a hard time reading these books. Because, you know, if you don't know, it's the show, it's a podcast that examines Black life in America through nonfiction books. And of course, you know, I don't know everything about history, but I know a good amount because my dad is, you know, very much into Black history. And so I know a fair amount. But when you already know a fair amount, and then you start reading books that literally blow up what you know and reveal the depths of it even more, it's tiring.
Yeah.
And I've reached a level of exhaustion with this country and with white people who just refuse to acknowledge all the terror and pain and horribleness that their race has inflicted upon Black people. And always looking for, well, you know, for excuses and justifications for the things that they did, instead of just saying, damn, we did some horrible shit. Let's just sit with that and figure out how we can be better so that this doesn't keep happening. But instead of that, they want to justify, they want to, you know, explain it away. They want to give their own versions of the facts. They want to say things like Black people benefited from slavery. You know, and it's so exhausting that when I'm looking at it, this is why Staying on Code has not had episodes in a while, because delving even deeper into the knowledge that I already have, I am exhausted, and I am dangerously near the tipping point of shutting down and not being able to function at all. Because of everything that's going on. I have never watched the news because my husband keeps up. He doesn't watch TV news. He watches real news on YouTube. And just, you know, sometimes I have to leave the room or go outside or put some headphones in because he keeps me abreast of things that are going on. But he also knows that I'm an empath. So where somebody else might hear the story and can compartmentalize it, I'm going to feel the pain. I'm going to, you know, be way too connected to the story. Then my mind starts thinking, what if that was my child? What if that was my husband? What if that was my brother? So I have to find a way to move forward with Staying on Code because it's a good podcast. It's a good concept, and I want people to know about the books. But I may have to come from the standpoint of, I don't know if I can do the podcast and say, look, I haven't read the book, but this is the book that I have, if you want to read more about it. Because I don't want to be a hypocrite. I don't want to talk on issues that I haven't read more in depth about. But I'm just in a space where I'm just like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if it was a mistake trying to start this podcast because I'm tired. I'm really, like the other day, I posted on Threads about how, you know, in response to this whole thing about Black people benefited from slavery, they showed that the steelworking came from Jamaicans, that British people stole it from Jamaicans. And I said, for the mental midgets that want to sit here and say that, you know, Black people benefited from slavery, no. You all needed to benefit from slavery, but we didn't need it. And some person who was black was like, can we just share the information without the ableist slurs? Like, bitch, why are you coming for me? You're after the wrong person. You need to be concerned about the fact that these white mental midgets are saying that black people benefited from slavery. There was nothing, absolutely nothing, that benefited us in slavery.
I don't understand why the conversation always defaults to how I said it and not what I said.
Right.
And it's just like, that's not, you're being obtuse on purpose, you know? So it's just like, it's not necessary. And the whole thing with all of it is just like, exactly what you said. Like, it's exhausting. It's exhausting living in a country where everybody hates you. It's exhausting living in a country where, like you said, that could be your son, your brother, your husband. At any given point, you are always on high alert. You're always like, especially if they have to leave, especially if they're not with you, you're always, especially if you're getting a phone call that you're not expecting, especially at a time where you're not expecting it. You're like, is this the phone call? Is this what I'm going to figure out that my entire life and things that I am normal and cool with has been completely deconstructed and shattered because we exist the way that we do. And it's always this idea of, oh, well, you have to know. And the thing is, the thing that gets under my skin about this conversation is that white people always talk about not wanting their children to feel a certain way. But it's like, do you understand the cost of knowing? Do you understand the cost of existing for us? Do you understand that we do not have the benefit of walking away and not knowing, or being like, until our kids are 10 or 12 or 13 and can have their brain developed enough to understand what's happening to them? If we don't teach them, they're not going to know. So why is it that you get to be excluded? Why is it that you get to live in ignorance? Why is it that you don't have to be held responsible for your actions and your words and the way that you treat people? No, the problem is you want to be treated like a marshmallow, like you're ignorant. And it's the same issue that I have with white femininity and this idea of treating men as if they are incapable of being responsible for themselves and their own thoughts. And it doesn't apply when you're talking about black women or you're talking about any woman of color. It's just like, you can't have it both ways. You can't have people expect people to be held accountable and then turn around and create ways for them not to hold themselves accountable and not hold them accountable for their actions. Like, that's dumb. That's dumb logic. It's failed logic on every
And what is
front.
wrong with letting them feel bad about themselves? They are literally putting laws on the books that saying you can't teach any history that makes white people feel bad about themselves and make them feel inferior. And so all the black people who have been excluded from history, and the only time that they're even acknowledged in class is when the 2 little paragraphs you had about slavery and the 1 little paragraph you had about Martin Luther King, and that is it. And being made to feel like you don't belong to this country, like your ancestors haven't contributed to this country. Why are you if it's okay for me to experience racism as a 7-year-old child, it's okay for your child to learn that they are the cause of it at 7 years old.
Well,
that's what pisses me off.
They want them. The thing is, they want to continue that. They don't want their children to do better. They want their children to be as morally corrupt as they are. That's thing number 1. But I think also thing number 2 is like, why do your feelings matter more than anybody else's? Why is it about you? It's not. And that's literally, and maybe it's just because like things that I'm going through personally, but I'm really sick of this idea. It's like, everybody thinks that everything is about them. Sometimes it's not about you. Sometimes it's about what's best for everyone else involved. And if you are 1/10 of the equation and the other 9/10 of this equation, it's better for them. It's not about you. It's not about what makes you feel comfortable. It's not about any of that. And here's the thing. If you acknowledged it, if you stared it straight in the face and called a spade, you wouldn't feel so bad about it, because the thing that gets on my nerves is people want to be like, well, I have to be held accountable for the actions of my ancestors. I have to be held accountable for the actions of your ancestors. So why shouldn't you?
Exactly.
Like, the fact that we have so many things, like the way that the way that I talk, the way that I carry myself, the way that I present myself in any given situation, the way I have to be on high alert. None of that is due to my doing. None of that is due to my ancestors. Because last I checked, they were minding their business when this happened to them because of something that your ancestors did. So if I'm still paying the price for it, why can't you hold actions for it? Why can't you be held accountable for it? I don't understand how this accountability is supposed to be held. Because you say one thing, but then you miss out on a completely different aspect of it. You're trying to morph this so that it's just like it includes everyone but you, and it's just like that becomes it's dumb, it's stupid, it's exhausted, it's failed logic, and it becomes like, okay, there's no point talking to you because you refuse to have an intelligent conversation with me, because if A is B and B is C, by default A is C, but you're trying to be like, well, no, that's not absolutely true, and I'm just like, no, it is. It is. Like, these are the exact same thing. You're just wording it in a different way to try to make it sound like it's accurate, and it's not.
Yep. And
It's
Ash
not.
Wrights Lot says that controlling how something is presented is the only power they have over the truth. Absolutely. And La says they don't care even though they say they do. Yep. Ash also said respectability politics, and Ben says they don't want their children calling them out on stuff, so obviously even a child can understand it. And that's really the crux of it, because white supremacy is built on a very fragile foundation of lies. And if you teach racism is taught, because if you go onto a playground when children are tiny, these kids, all they see is it's another person to play with, and everybody just is more fun, the more people, the more fun. It's not until their parents start saying, you can't play with because they're black. You can't play with because we don't like black people. That's when they start getting, and they even say, I don't understand why. And this is why they have a problem with teaching the history, because these young kids have not been indoctrinated into their white supremacy fully yet. And if they're taught the truth, then they come home and they ask mommy some uncomfortable questions. And mommy has to admit that their grandma and their great-grandma were the ones throwing rocks at Ruby Bridges, were the ones,
It's not even their great-grandma. It's their grandmothers. Their mothers.
Their mothers, their grandmothers. Anybody in their immediate line who may or may not still be alive, if they have to say, yeah, your grandma threw the rocks at Ruby Bridges. Yeah, your grandma called somebody a nigger with a hard ER. Yeah, your grandma said, was helped, was there when they put a cross and burned a cross on somebody's lawn.
Yeah.
They have to start having accountability for their own actions in their family. And then when their children say, but why? Just because they're black? I don't understand. And then what do they have? They have nothing. And they know how stupid it makes them look. So they don't want all this, they don't want all this stuff taught, because then they have to, it's the mirror in the face, and they don't want that. And that's all it is. Everything starts to crumble, and that's all it is.
That's all it is. And it's just...
And your husband, Ben, he said, also in my experience, the few white people who do actually understand never get defensive over the truth. Exactly. It's only the guilty that gets offended, but they claim to have Christian values, is what Read the Listen says. Absolutely.
See, the thing is, as they say in the South, a hit dog gonna holler.
Yep.
Always.
Yep.
Always. Because if the shoe don't fit, don't wear it. But clearly, the people, like you said, who are getting offended, you're like, oh, I'm not racist, but you are. The fact that you had to lead this conversation with saying, but I'm not racist, but you are. Because you know that exactly what you're about to say, and the way that you think and the way that you frame things is coming from that aspect. And you want to say something, but then I saw this TikTok, and I will send it to you guys if I can find it again. But it was about this guy talking, and he has like 4 empty chairs, and there's basically him looking at the different chairs as they're having this conversation, and they're like, it's color coded so that you can see different sides of the conversation, and everybody's talking about, well, like, but what about this, and what about that, and what about this, and what about that. And it's so interesting when people are like, oh, all the chairs make good points or whatever, and I'm just kind of like, well, no, because the conversation is very surface level. Because when people are like, but why don't black people help themselves? When you talk about poverty or whatever in the black community, be like, well, black people always have, they spend money on things that are extravagant or whatever. But then again, the part of the conversation is, yes, but part of that is due to the fact that you are judged harshly on how you present yourself. So it's like, yeah, no, you might not be able to afford a nice car, but there is a big difference between pulling up in a Benz and pulling up in a Toyota or pulling up in a Honda, and people perceive you differently. And that's not something that anybody told me, as my mama said. That ain't nothing I heard, okay? I have seen my parents, when they are trying to buy a new car or a new vehicle, at the time, they were trying to buy a car for my brother. And so they were like, okay, they had an older car. It was a van, but my dad had a much nicer Lincoln sitting in the driveway. We pulled up to the car dealership in the van, and nobody wanted to get out and talk. Nobody wanted to help. Nobody wanted to do their job or whatever. And so the one person who worked with them, they were like, okay, let us think about it. And then when they came up the next day, they came up and they were not dressed in their Sunday best, but they dressed like they were going to work, and they pulled up in the Lincoln, and then you had 6-7 people falling over themselves trying to help. And they were like, no, we came here yesterday. We want to speak to this young man because he was the one who helped us yesterday. And y'all think that people don't hold this idea of racism. And mind you, this is in 2009, 2010. Like, this is not something that was like, oh, that was in the 70s. It was like, no. No, this is within the last, I'll say not decade, because obviously we're in 2023, but like literally within my lifetime. These are core memories that are being formed about how you're treated if you were not presenting a certain way. And literally being as a black girl, because if you're watching this, obviously I have on a wig. Y'all know this ain't my hair. Y'all been on the show enough times to know that this ain't me, right? Very much 1999 off of the internet, okay? But like, my natural hair is very thick. It's 4C. I got what I never in nobody's lifetime been told that I got good hair, okay? That's not who I was. And so at every important and pivotal event in my life, being told that the way that I look is not enough, that it's not satisfactory, that I need to straighten my hair, that I need to grow it out, that I need to wear a certain type of makeup, that I need to walk a certain way, that, I need to be careful because, if I'm eating too much, my hips are getting too large, the way my body is physiologically shaped is not attractive. It's not feminine. It's not anything. And I have done literally nothing but be born into this world. And literally everything from the top of my head to the tips of my toes has been criticized simply for existing, because I do not meet the Eurocentric ideals of beauty. But then you people want to get mad about this conversation, like there are black Barbies. It's like, the reason you know that there are black Barbies is because there weren't any before. That's why it makes you upset. Okay, if it was normalized, it wouldn't mean anything to you, because you never go into a freaking Target and you're like, oh, there are a bunch of white Barbies here. No, because you've been so conditioned to think that is what's normal, and normal is a social construct, but nobody ever wants to talk about that. And people get offended because they understand. It's not a lack of understanding. They know what it would be like if they are othered, and they don't want that for themselves. And that's why this whole conversation about racism and what it means and yada yada yada, it's a bunch of nonsense. It's a bunch of horse pooey, because y'all really out here trying to have conversations with people who are feigning ignorance. Literally, no one is that dumb. Because here's the thing, there's a difference between ignorance and stupid. Ignorance is not knowing. Stupidity is choosing to live in ignorance. Those are two completely different things. And there are a lot of people out here having arguments with stupid people. Yep. That was a rant. I'm in a ranting mood today, so I'm glad we're on Rants and Rambles.
My spirit is in a ranting mood. And like I said, I'm just tired. I'm tired. And, I saw something the other day that said that when you live in a constant state of survival, and then you remove yourself from that, don't be surprised if the exhaustion takes over.
Yeah.
And it was someone she left this country and went somewhere else to live, and for the first 3 weeks she was just exhausted, and she realized that it was because while she was here as a black woman, she was in constant survival mode.
Yeah.
And that's what all black people are in this country. And some of us we're all at different levels of it, and some of us are better at compartmentalizing it, but we are all in survival mode. And I have reached the point of the exhaustion is taking over, and I can't even help it, you know? And Reed says it kind of reminds me of the recent post of the lady with the locks crying. People were acting like they didn't understand why she felt that way.
I mean, have you seen it, Audra?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so basically what's happening is it's a girl, she's got locks, and from the looks of her hair, it's not fully locked. Like she's still very much in her lock journey or whatever. And she made a TikTok, and she's upset because she's like, her hair used to be longer, and her hair doesn't look the way that she wants it to. She's like, her biggest thing is like, it doesn't even look like I got my hair done, and I don't have the length, and it's not like this. And she's like, I had so many misconceptions about it, and so on and so forth. And people there are people on both sides, most of the people were like kind of dragging her like, hey, ain't nobody tell you, like, this is not for the weak, this is not for the faint of heart. But it's also on the other side that people were just like, this is the problem with being Black in America. Everything about you is criticized, and everything about you and how you live your life is like, it's not supposed to look this way. And I understood to a certain extent where she was coming from, because like when I had locks, part of the reason why I don't have them anymore is because there's this idea that your hair needs to look a certain way and be so highly maintained, when it's just like, really, for me at least, I had so much tension breakage that my hair was literally falling out, and there was nothing I could do about it. And it's just like that, this idea of trying to pursue this, in order to be pretty and feminine, you need to have, thick, long hair basically down to your ass. Otherwise, you're not really as pretty as you could be. And the fact that is so ingrained in us, like, she's literally having a breakdown because of her hair. And it's just like, honestly, her hair was really pretty. She was really pretty. And it's like the fact that she couldn't see that. And it's just like, this is what we have to deal with. And people want to act like we're the problem, but it's just like, no, everybody wants to be accepted for who they are. Everybody wants to be acknowledged for the things that they choose to be, and not the things that they are born into. And the fact that the minute you are born with enough melanin in your skin to be considered Black, you are immediately you have this foot on your neck from the time you take your first breath to the time you take your last one, telling you what to do, when to do, how to do it, how to navigate this system, this world. And if you dare to not conform in the slightest, if you dare to try to lift that foot off your neck even in the slightest, people are like, how dare you make me trip? Like, why you got your foot on my neck constantly, but then you wondering why, but I'm the bad person for trying to get you off
my neck. Yeah, exactly. And Reed Loveless says, I can say when I lived in Japan, I loved how I didn't get followed around like I do here in the USA. Living abroad, I didn't worry about my boys as much as I do here. Yeah, exactly. And Ben
I think about leaving the country all the time.
Oh, I'm planning on it. I'm absolutely. We've been. This has been something in the plans for us for years. And then Ben says, think about how many Black people have had to change their hair just to get a job. Listen, and La says, I want to leave for sure. Let me tell y'all something about this hair of mine. Okay, when I was little, my hair was very short. My mother would keep it nicely done, but, they would say I didn't have good hair because my hair was short. Got older, started going to a hairdresser, went through the perms, the hair breaking off and all that. Then finally, about 11th grade, started going to this hairdresser regularly, was taking care of my hair, didn't put any heat in it. The only heat that was on my hair was when I went to her. Otherwise, I wrapped it every night. I took really good care of my hair. It was long, it was straight. It was probably like down to here. Oh, your hair's so beautiful. Oh, you have such good hair, blah, 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 blah. Fast forward about, what's it been, maybe 13 years now? Going to my hairdresser, doing the same thing, still taking care of my hair all these years later. I get a bald spot in the back of my head. And she's like, you're going to have to stop. And I went from getting relaxers every 3 months to my hair, especially because I had started gardening and stuff like that, I would need a relaxer like every 6 weeks. Well, she's like, you can't get relaxers anymore because you're going bald. You have to stop. So I had to go natural. I didn't go natural because I was trying to make a statement. I didn't go natural because I was trying to do like everybody else was doing and follow a trend. I went natural because I had to. And when I got my first little fro, my daughter I was putting my hair in braids to let it grow out some. And the plan was I'd gotten one set, took them out, put in another set. My daughter was helping me take them out, and she cut a little too close. So I had no choice. And when I went to my hairdresser, she was like, well, all she did was just cut the permed hair out, so I'm just going to finish what she started. It's not like she went too close. She just took out the straightened hair. So and it looked very much like this, except it wasn't faded on the sides. I just had this little afro. Mm-hmm. When I came home, everybody, and my husband still feels bad about it to this day because he sees how his mind was conditioned. It was cute. I could show you a picture of it. Cute little, neatly. I don't like it. You look like a man. I mean, my husband, my parents, my friends would go to the grocery store, and guys that would always say hi to me, that I said hi, kept it moving, they didn't even recognize me. And then they were like, I was like, you don't recognize me? You talk to me every time I come. Oh, what did you do why'd you do that to your hair? What'd you do that for? You look like a man. And I can't tell you how many times a week I get called sir, even though I have big ass breasts and hips for days and a big ass, and still sir. Earrings, ring, that's why I will not go out of the house without earrings, because I feel so self-conscious. And then I have my hairline, which I was able to cover when my hair was straight. And I hate my hairline because it's not feminine to me, but this is my grandfather. So the hairline accentuates it. And when I tell you that I am still learning to love the way that I look. When people say I'm pretty, I don't understand it. My husband calls me beautiful all the time, and he feels bad about his first reaction, which was, I don't like it, it doesn't suit you. But he realized that was decades of white standards of beauty being pushed on him. But the way that I am still adjusting to having this hair, and now my hair is thinning on top, and nothing I do, I've gone to dermatologists, I've tried every kind of cream and whatever out there, I'm eating all the right things, I'm drinking, and I'm still thinning on top. When I tell y'all how that affects my self-esteem, and if I was white and changed my hair, nobody would think anything about it. But because I'm black, everybody, everything that you do is so policed, and it's so exhausting. Like, why can't I just do something without you having to make a commentary? Not even just white people, but black people. Why do you have to make a commentary on everything that we do? Just keep it pushing. It doesn't affect you. It's not stopping you from getting your bag. It's not stopping you from living your life. Just shut up about it and go on with your life.
Literally that, because it's just like, and I feel like, especially since, I guess, the age that I grew up in, the era that I've grown up in, I grew up very much in this new push for natural hair, right? Because I'm not gonna say it's the first push, but I grew up very much in the big chop and, naturally curly and curly Nikki and all these blogs and, YouTubers popping up out the woodwork. You use this product, that product, that product, yada, yada, yada. And I remember, like, part of the reason why I went natural in high school. I went natural when I was 16, I want to say. And the reason I did it is simply because my hair was breaking off. I went from having, like, hair down to, like, right about here. Because, most black girls, your hair doesn't grow much past your neck because you've got so much damage at that point. It doesn't grow very long. And then my hair was having split ends and breakage, so I got it chopped up to my chin. And then it wasn't getting any better, so I got it chopped up to my ears. And finally, I was just like, and at some point I was like, it's the relaxer, so I'm gonna stop getting relaxers. And then my mom was like, but you have to keep your hair straight. And I was like, but I don't want to. And so she was like, you have to get a hot comb. Like, you have to get it straightened or whatever.
That's gonna make it even worse.
I hate heat on my hair. I do not like it. I get jumpy. I get anxious. I do not like heat on my hair at all. I don't like it anywhere near my head, nothing, because, like, obviously I've had my hair done in the kitchen before, and I've been nicked with a hot comb. Like, if you have a mom with a hot comb, you've been nicked, and that shit fucking hurts. So it's just like, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to do this. And so I was just like, I just want to chop my hair off. And so I got a big chop, and when I tell you, I felt so cute. I was like, this is my hair, this is how it grows. And I had grown out my hair, like the first time you get your big chop, most of the time you grow out your hair with your relaxer. You don't just shave it all off and go to the scalp. You grow out your hair so you have a cute little fro. And when I tell you, I went home and my dad looked at me, and mind you, I'm 16, I'm feeling myself. I walk in the house and he was like, the hell happened to you? And he looked at my mom and he was like, you knew about this? And she was like, yeah, she looks cute, what are you talking about? Looking at him like, don't watch what you're saying. And he's like, nah. But he starts stuttering, and that's what he does when he gets hype. He's like, she looks like a man. And I remember
exactly
standing on the stairs looking at him, and I was just like, and before I could even think about it, I was like, well, at least I still got titties. And then I went up to my room. And I just remember thinking, like, I just dead ass looked at my dad and was just like, but I still got titties. And that seemed like the right move when I was 16. And it was just like, even then, like, there are so many things at that age where it's just like, like I said, I was 16. I was getting ready to graduate high school because I graduated at 17. I was supposed to do the cotillion or whatever, which is like a little debut thing. I don't know if y'all do that up north, but in the South, it's like a big debut ball, essentially. And my mom, I had a fro, y'all. It wasn't even this long. It was like this long. And she's like, you need to go get it pressed. Do y'all know what this much hair looks like straight? Stupid. Okay? Yeah. And mind you, this is in August in the South, okay? It's freaking
So you know
hot.
you're going to sweat that right back out.
I sweated it out, and when I tell you, I got cussed out for days because she spent like $75 for me to get a press out. And I'm like, I am on campus at school, and I had to walk across campus to class because you would not have understood if I was not in class. And so it was like, damned if I do, damned if I don't. And I finally was like, no, because once I sorted it out, she's like, we got to go back and get it done again. I was like, I don't want to do that. Let me just like wear a cute little fro. And when I tell you, to this day, my mom and my dad are still pissed because in all of my pictures, I have a fro or whatever. They are still very much upset about that. And so when it came to prom, my hair had grown out by then. And so my mom tried to do the same thing. I was like, no, I just want her to twist it up, give me a cute little twist out. And when I tell you, I was so happy at prom, and she's still mad about those pictures. It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
And it becomes so internalized that even now, kind of like you, Aja, like whenever I do something with my hair, like I will experiment with my hair. Y'all know that I will come up with a color. I will chop it off. I will grow it out. I will experiment with my hair, but every time I do, my mom is like, well, be careful. You know, you're going to end up bald. You're not going to have no hair. It's all going to fall out. And I'm just kind of like, why would you tell me that? Why is it that I'm not allowed to experiment? Why is it that the only way for me to wear my hair that's deemed appropriate is fried to the gods and short? Yep. Why is it that the only way? Because when I tell you, the first time I got green, like when I cut my hair and dyed it green, when I tell you, when I told my parents I was going to dye my hair green, they looked at me like I was batshit crazy. And they was like, you're going to look like a damn clown. That's literally what my dad said in the living room. He said, you're going to look like a damn clown. And I was just like, but I'm going to be a cute clown. And then I moved on. But it's just like,
that's why I made sure that my daughter, she's never had a relaxer in her hair. And I have always, like, she's had it blown out straight, stuff like that. But no matter what her hair looked like, I always taught her, this is your hair and your hair is beautiful. You can wear it curly, you can wear it straight, you can wear it however, but it is beautiful. And she, to this day, has a very healthy relationship with her hair because I never let her get I told her, relaxers, do not do like me. Don't get relaxers because it will ruin your hair. You have beautiful hair. You don't need to do that. You wear your hair the way it comes out your head. If you want to straighten it, you get a blowout. If you want to, but she has a very healthy relationship with her hair because I made sure that what I experienced, she did not experience. And I will go to some of the comments here. La said, when I stopped relaxing my hair and did a big chop, I was initially told often that I needed to straighten it. My comments keep going back up. Need to straighten it again, otherwise I'm not pretty enough to attract attention. Yeah, I got that too. Let's see what else is here. I'm trying to roll back up. Ash says, when I went natural after researching the chemicals and perms, I never liked them because of the burn. But it wasn't until I had my kid that I stopped. Yep. And then Reed says, I think a lot of us have similar hair journeys. I went natural in college because I could afford relaxers and had breakage. The way my older female relatives said the worst stuff ever. The guy I dated at the time, cousin said some BS. My husband met me and said it's what attracted him. My mom made comments unless I had my hair styled. And now that I have locks that are longer, I get compliments from her. And Ash said had the same issues, but comments from family stopped when I started talking about their appearance and calling them on their internalized isms. Yeah, and that's kind of what you have to do. My brother-in-law was just like, you are not attractive with your hair like that. I don't know why you did that. Then asked my husband, why did you let her do that? My
It's
father's
the following up with your husband. The men be like, why did you let her? Like, first of all, it's my head and I'm grown.
right, and then like, and like I need my haircut now, but whenever I get my haircut, I get little lines and stuff like that, and people always, my dad, my mother-in-law, why you get those lines? What does that mean? Is that some kind of gang affiliation? Yeah, bitch, because you know that I'm always up in somebody's gang at 50 years old. Yeah, gang. I mean, come on. It's like, it's an expression. I can't do much with my hair, so all I can do is get the sides done. And to keep myself from getting bored, I get designs. It's my little thing that I do. Why do you feel the need to question me about it? Wear your hair the way that you want. I'm going to wear my hair the way that I want. Read the list of reader gang.
Truly. And it's also like, here's the thing about it too. It's just like, especially in my case with my dad, that I kind of had to get to a point, because like, I love my dad. I love my dad to pieces. I've always been a daddy's girl. But I also got to the point where I'm just like, okay, but he's stuck in an era that I'm not living in. Mm-hmm. That's fine. Because I've accepted that he's never going to be like the way I like to wear my hair. I like to wear colors. I like to get it braided. And like, if my hair's long enough, I'm going to get crochet. I'm going to get it braided down and I'm going to do something with it. Like, I'm not going to have the same style every day. And it's one of those things where it's just like, he's never going to like it. That's okay. The only person that I ask at this point is I ask Ben, because you know what, for better or for worse, I do kind of want him to look at me and be like, oh, she fine. I do. That's a personal thing. But other than that, like, my mom, my aunts, okay, well, y'all grew up in an era that doesn't exist for me. And y'all have y'all got things from people who I have never met. Y'all carry baggage and things from baggage claims I ain't never been to, That's fine. I get that. But also, it's this idea of punching down, of like, put me in line because this is not what you're doing. And I've had conversations with some of the women in my family, and they have literally been like, oh, Chelsea, I wish I could be more like you and do what I want to with my hair because I want to do X, Y, and Z. And it's just like, then do it. Like, what is stopping you? Like, and it's this idea that, for me, a lot of the way that I live my life, one of the things that I hold very dear to and close to my chest with everything that I do is I want to make sure that what I'm doing and my actions lead to me being happy within my control. And if it is something that is not hurting anyone and it's not hurting me, and it's something that I want to do, and it's something that I can afford to do, and I have no reason not to do it other than what other people expect of me, it's like, that to me at this point in my life is not a good enough reason to do something that is going to bring me joy. So when I had my hair short, I wore it just short and black for like ever, like the entirety of the pandemic. But it's like, okay, I feel safe enough to find a hairstylist. I feel safe enough to try something different. Yep. Yeah, I'm like you, Audrey. I was like, I'm gonna go get a lineup in the back, and it's gonna be cute, and it's gonna be sharp, and it's gonna be crisp. Okay, like, y'all not gonna be out here playing games with me. And like, yeah, I'm gonna get it dyed green because green is my favorite color, and that makes me happy. And I was honestly, if I hadn't started growing my hair out, I would have gone through the gambit of colors, because the way I had purple lined up, I had blue lined up, I had everything lined up. The only color I wasn't going to do was pink, because pink is not my color. But yeah, I was going to do it all because I'm like, why not? And people are like, well, your hair's going to fall out. It's already short, homie. It's half an inch. Like, okay. Yep. I ain't gonna you already call me bald headed, so what's gonna be the difference?
What's the difference?
What is gonna be the difference?
Exactly.
And it's just like, the fact that all of us, every black woman I know, especially black women who are natural, have some type of traumatic story from someone that they either love or some random stranger criticizing them, and they still carry it around even if it's years or decades later. It's just like, that is the problem. And it's not just, and it doesn't just end with hair. It's nose, it's lips, it's, how wide your shoulders are. It's how your body is framed, how tall you are, how short you are, how your hips look, how you walk, how you talk. Like, if you ever I talk with my hands a lot. That's a problem for some people. And it's just like, it's always something.
Like, and really, can y'all just leave us the fuck alone?
Yeah.
Can you just mind your business? Can we just let each other just do our thing and just breathe, and just, if you don't like something, just keep walking. That's the one thing
Ooh,
about
how minding
social
your
media.
business is free.
Yeah, like that's the one thing about social media that has made minding your business hard, because people overshare on the internet. And so because people overshare on the internet, people feel like they have to comment on things that they see. Like, you don't have to comment. You can have a comment about it to yourself, but you do not have to make it known on the internet. You do not have to go up to that person and say, like, in 2016, I had gotten my real estate license. Mm-hmm. And I had taken this picture with this wig on in my hair. It was a cute little, like, bob wig. It was, like, real short. And the woman who was training me, she saw the cards and she was like, "This is you? You're gorgeous." I was like, "Yes, I am, with or without that wig." And she was like, "Well, it's just that, you should wear your wig when you're doing, when you're talking to prospective clients, because they'll be more amenable to you with the wig on than with your hair like that." I said, "Well, first of all, what you're saying is very, very racist." She's like, "No, no, no." I was like, "Yes, it is. Because I am the same person with or without that wig. And the fact that you're telling me that I don't want to work with anyone who is more comfortable with me with European hair. If you can't see who I am and can't understand that I am good at what I do, regardless of how this hair is still attached to me when that wig is on. If you can't see that I'm talented and that I'm here to help you, I don't want to work with you anyway." "Well, no, I didn't mean that, and I don't want you to go off on some racial tangent." I was like, "And your racism is showing again. What is a racial tangent, and why are you assuming I'm going to go off on one? I'm just simply telling you that what you're saying is very, very offensive to me." It's just, and it's like, I don't understand why people have to just say stuff, have to come out their face and say stuff. You don't like my hair? Cool. It scares you? Get the hell away from me. I do not understand that about white people. They will sit there and say that they are so bothered by us and so scared of us and don't like us, yet we live rent-free in your heads. You are always sweating everything we do. You're in our spaces asking us why we have these spaces. You're in our spaces trolling us in the comments. If I don't like somebody and I can be as far away from them as possible, I'm going to be as far away from them as possible. I'm not going to be stalking them on the internet and trolling their comments and, being everywhere that they are and watching everything that they do.
The way I'm so just mentally exhausted, because the way I don't even think about white people until I'm reminded that half the things that I have to deal with are because of them.
Yep.
Like, if I could just literally be by myself and mind my business, I would never. The way I don't mind business that's not mine. The way I am not concerned with things that don't concern me. The way that no one has ever been told to sit down and be quiet in so many spaces. I'm just like, literally, just sit down and be quiet. Listen. Right. And so many people lack the ability to listen, not to respond. Listen. Comprehend. Y'all lack basic comprehension skills. And it shows. It really shows. But then it's the audacity to follow that up with thinking that you're somehow superior in some conversation when you lack the ability to even hear what the other person is saying to you without reacting in your emotions and not being able to acknowledge the fact that you are having an emotional reaction right now. And the fact that every black woman I know has had that moment where it's just like, I can't react to this. This upsets me, but I can't react to this. Not here, not now. And the fact that literally no other demographic of person really has to hone that skill the way that black women do, because in every situation we are so geared towards not being perceived as the angry black woman, as not being perceived as overly emotional, because we get literally no grace for having emotions. And it's just kind of like, you know what? Y'all are exhausting. Y'all are dumb. Y'all are stupid. Y'all are exhausting. And I don't want to be in spaces with you. The only reason I'm in spaces with you is because I have to be. Yep. That is it. And then when people say that, when they say that they don't want to interact with you, like, I don't know if y'all ever saw Powerpuff Girls or whatever, but this just popped into my head. I don't know why. I'm probably really tired. But there's this, and I'm talking about the original Powerpuff Girls, not the reboot or whatever. But there's this kid in their class, and Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup hated him because he had cooties. And everybody was like, nah. And at some point in the episode, they get dropped down a hole with him. and he is literally chasing them around in this tiny little hole, trying to touch them. And they were like, get away from me. And they are flying, they are crying, they are stressed. And that's literally what it feels like sometimes, because literally they were just trying to mind their business, and here comes this little boy with the cooties trying to play with them, trying to touch with them, trying to be in their space, and they're like, no, and they're using their words, and they're physically avoiding them, and they're physically being like, I don't want to be with you. These bitches can fly. They are literally in the air. Okay? Like, no sir. And here he comes, stalking them down, being like, no, you're going to play with me.
Right.
No.
And that is white people.
That's literally what it is. And it's just like, the way you could have just gone over to your side of the playground and been fine and left me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
It's really that simple.
It's
really that simple. Y'all gonna be like, well, Chelsea, at the end of the episode, they found out that he didn't really have cooties and he was fine. You know what? That's cool for the Powerpuff Girls, but that's also a cartoon. Let's keep the metaphor in perspective, okay?
Exactly.
Anywho.
Like, you are always up in our spaces. You are always monitoring every fucking thing that we do. You tell us to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps to build our own, and then we have Black Wall Streets and Rosewoods, and we're doing our own shit and having our own, and then y'all mad because the stuff that we have is better than the stuff that you have, and then you come and burn our shit down. Like,
can we
what
talk
do
about
you want from us?
Because we've already talked about this, and if you're listening to this, I just need y'all to know that we have been talking all day. We went from the melanin chat to the after chat to doing this.
Yep.
So I don't know at what point we said this today, but it's also worth noting that the way Black people live under exhaustion, the way we are naturally geared to being on guard. Think about it. In order to create, most people have to be in some type of relaxation. And when you talk about the hierarchy of needs, and this is basic psychology, because I only took one psychology class, and I was immediately like, this is not for me, because the way I'm not trying to understand how y'all think, because y'all thinking is weird. I ain't about that. Don't talk to me about it. I am not a psychologist, right? But it's like, when you talk about the psychology of needs, the first thing at the bottom of that thing, the biggest part of it, is shelter. If you don't have safety and shelter, you cannot do anything of like the higher arts. That's like creating things. That's like talking, socializing. If you don't feel safe, you don't get to the point where you can do those other things. And understand that when you are melanated in America, you very rarely get to that point where you can feel safe. And even then, we are still doing those higher level things. We are still socializing. We are still setting trends. We are still defining a culture. We are still carving out spaces for ourselves. We are still creating art. And even when those things are denied, even when people are like, we don't want your art in our spaces, we don't want your stories, we don't want this, we're like, fine, we'll do it ourselves. And when I tell you, people see that. And I'm going to go on a quick rant, so I hope you allow the space for it. But truly, something that irritates the goodness out of me, that really makes me into a true angry Black woman, is when people are like, oh, but you're magic. And I'm like, but you realize that we wouldn't be magic if we didn't have to be magic. Do you know how exhausting it is to be in a situation for so long that you finally get to a point where you're like, fine, I'll do it myself. You don't start out at fine, I'll do it myself. Because the word fine implies exhaustion. It implies being fed up. It implies being like, I've been asking for help. It implies I've been trying to follow the rules. It implies I've been trusting you with this. It implies I have been doing everything that I could do to make this work in the situation that you have given, and now I can't. And now I must create something. You make it seem like when Black women, so many people are talking about how Black women can literally make something out of nothing. And it's like, do you know how hard that is, though? Do you know how just
we would rather not?
I would rather not. You know what? Like, yes, if you give me $5, can I go and make a meal to feed my family? Yes, I can. But you know what I would prefer?
Do I want
to?
No.
If you gave me $500 and said, go do the exact same thing.
If you gave me $500 and I could fill the damn refrigerator and freezer for several weeks and not be sitting here sweating like, oh my God, how am I going to feed my children tonight so that they can go to bed on a full stomach and they can have breakfast in the morning before they go to school? I'd rather have the normalcy of that, please. Thank you.
I'd rather have the easier. And it's just like, so when people are like, oh, Black girls are magic, it's like, but do you realize that what you're saying isn't really a compliment and just a testament to how much we have survived? That's like saying that roaches are resilient. That means you tried to kill them. Shit. Like, stop. I don't want to be magic. I want to be a normal bitch. Okay? God, y'all want to, and it kills me because people be talking about, oh, I want to live a soft life. Bitch, I want a soft life too.
I want a soft life, yes. I'd love a soft life. Thank you very much.
But y'all be out here doing the damn most.
Y'all do the most. Let me tell anybody that is white that is listening to this, you want to know how you can help us? You can get control of your little friends and your family when you hear them making comments, making assumptions, and you're in those spaces with them and you know we're not there. Check them on it. You know what else you can do? Leave us alone. Don't ask me why my hair is like this. Don't ask me how I do my hair. Don't ask me how I do anything, because I'm not here to give you a cultural lesson. I am not an animal to be observed in a petting zoo. I am a human. You can admire me from afar. Don't come over to me and ask me anything. Don't come stand next to me in the summertime and say, ooh, my tan is almost as good as yours. Bitch, this ain't no tan.
Yeah.
Okay? Just leave us alone. Go. If you see us coming, go the other direction. Cross the y'all. You know how y'all loved to cross the street because you didn't want to walk on the same sidewalk with us? Do that again. Leave us alone.
And I'm gonna add to that if you start to think, well, why does she stop right there? And no one in this life, black, white, Asian, whoever, I'm talking to everybody. No one in this life has to explain to you why they have what they have, and then you are in no place to begrudge someone something that they have simply because you do not have it. Some of y'all did not grow up with siblings, and it fucking shows. You do not get what everybody else has. It is not your birthday, okay? It's not your present. You don't get to take it just because you didn't get it, okay? You gotta let it go. You're not gonna have what everybody else has. There are going to be people who have things that you don't. That is the reality of it. And it's not right for you to sit there. If you can sit there in your mind and think, well, why should they have this when the thing is, you made it about you. And what I said at the beginning of this is not about you. And everything is not about you. And just because
you know something,
somebody
life ain't
else,
fucking fair. So
it's not even about being fucking fair. It's about the fact that, like, one of the conversations going around on the internet right now is how flight attendants are asking for $92 an hour, and people are like, no, they don't need to do that much. It's a flight attendant. You're just a glorified waitress. First of all, why shouldn't waitresses get paid enough to fucking pay their bills? First of all, let's stop and let's think about that. Let's unpack that. First of all. Second of all, you don't know shit about shit before you come out your mouth spewing shit, so be quiet. Third of all, flight attendants, if you did any minimal amount of research, one, they only get paid while you're in actually in the fucking air. So when they're going through security, when they're getting all that stuff for you while y'all are still on the ground, that's unpaid labor. Okay. Third of all, they are not paid to be waitresses. They are paid to make sure that you are safe if something goes wrong with that plane. They are there to make sure that you get that oxygen.
They're there to tell you where the exits are and how to leave the plane.
And they are there to escort you in the event of an actual accident. They are there to help your child put on that oxygen mask because you're knocked the fuck out. They are there to help you get off the plane if that shit's about to blow the fuck up. That's what they're actually trained for. But you wouldn't know that, and you think that someone saving your life isn't worth $92 an hour. The problem is y'all devalue so much, and you put so much value on things where it's just like, you know who should probably not be paid as highly as they are? Doctors. You want to know why? Because if they didn't make as much money, capitalism wouldn't be such a huge thing.
Yeah.
And if everybody
the nurses do all the work.
And if everybody had access to healthcare and they just got paid like a regular fucking job, one, you would have more people in it. And two, it wouldn't be such a denial. You wouldn't have to hop through so many hoops to get the medical care that you need because they wouldn't be paid so fucking much. And it wouldn't be like a fucking celebrity. Like, the whole system is fucked, and you think that if you keep playing it's going to work. And it's just like, here's the thing. If you're a cog in the machine, you are never going to be able to change it. You are never going to be able to stop it. You are going to keep turning in that machine. And so there's so many people who think, no, you need to be in it. Like, I'm trying to make the machine work for me, but also I'm trying to change it. You can't do both at the same time. You can't be eating the food and changing the recipe at the same damn time. That's not how it works.
Nope, that's not how it works.
Anyway, it is like 1:15, homie.
I know. All right, y'all. So this has been another episode of Rants and Rambles. Like I said, by the time you will hear this, it will be the last day of July. I start making plans for August for what you gonna do with it, because tomorrow is not promised. Not saying you have to do anything big or small. Just do something that you want to do for you.
Like pre-order my book.
Like pre-order her book, which is coming out on August 29th, which is what? My birthday. Hey. And all the links for all all the links for Chelsea's socials will be in the description box below and on the webpage. All my socials will be there. Follow us, support us, y'all, because the shit we do ain't free. Okay?
It's not.
It's really not. And Chelsea and I are both homemakers, so really, come on, please. And that is it. And thank you to Ben and to Ash and to La and to Read, Love, Listen, who have been their first time. These are my first guests that were in the audience. Loved having y'all here and your comments. Thank you, La. La said, love spending the day with y'all. This was fun. You both have a great day. Yes, you do the same. And for everybody out there, have a great month. And we will see you at the end of August. Until next time, y'all, you know what to do. Grab a book and read.
Bye.
I'm out. Thank you for lending me your ear today. If you've enjoyed this independent podcast, you can help me continue to shine the light on Black authors and their stories by becoming a patron at patreon.com/betweenthereads or by giving a one-time gift at www.ko-fi.com/betweenthereadspodcast. That's ko-fi.com/betweenthereadspodcast. Tune in next time for another great episode.